Hello. Well, this is the next theory about why people commit crime. It's our fourth one that we're looking at. This one's called the social control theory. And this is definitely a sociology kind of topic as much as it is psychology, but probably more sociology. And it's by a sociology professor named Travis Hirschi. Social control theory. And his theory basically works like this: most people would commit crime. So most of us would commit crime if not for controls that society places on individuals. So we would all commit crime if not for controls that society places on individuals. Now, what do we mean by control? What we mean, like things like family. All right. So like you might commit crime, except man, would your mother kick your butt? That kind of idea. Or my dad would go nuts or whatever. Like there's that social control from family. Schools certainly influence you. They create a structure where crime is discouraged. Be doing the right thing is encouraged. Okay, so we put these controls on people, and then of course, a massive cultural control is religion. The one thing we do know is that the more religious you are, doesn't matter what religion, we're talking Christianity, Judaism, Islam, doesn't really matter, the less likely you are to commit a crime. So being involved in religion has a huge influence on lower crime rates, as it were. Okay, so this is the social control theory. Let's delve a little bit deeper into it here, on what Professor Hirschi came up with. All right, so he argued that everybody needs four things. If you don't have some of these things, you're more likely, therefore, to commit crime. One is attachment. Lack of attachment is an indicator of somebody who will commit crime. And that attachment is attachment to parents. So, like good relationships with a father and mother. We talked, by the way, earlier about fatherlessness has a high correlation with crime rates in a family, or especially among young men. And so, there's this whole idea that when you have connections in family, I mean, you don't want to disappoint. So, like that creates less likely that you're going to commit crime when you have that attachment. Two, commitments to things. People who are committed to their own education or to an occupation or have some sort of goal, uh, that's huge. And people who have that commitment are less likely to commit crime. Involvement in the community, and that often involves sports, activities, and something I was mentioned earlier, church, which I'm going to talk about again. And that's not just like belief in the church, that's like being involved in a church here, but involvement in sports and activities in church less likely to commit crimes. We know that students in high school that are involved in extracurricular activities are actually more likely to do well in school and are far less likely to get in trouble. And then lastly, beliefs. And this is where church and religion has a huge impact here. Where moral beliefs, a sense of right and wrong being taught, especially in a church environment, or a religion environment, I should say, because we should involve Islam, we should involve Judaism, other religions like that. That this would create an environment where crime's not going to happen because these people check themselves. They don't need a government to enforce a law because they're checking themselves with their moral beliefs. So those things. So Hirschi again argued that when people lack attachment, when they don't have commitment to education and occupation, when people aren't involved, when they don't have the strong beliefs, then they're more likely to commit crime. I mentioned earlier that the lowest crime rates in America with the highest education and the highest levels of income in our country are among the Asian community. Those Asian communities, if you study them, they have very high levels of commitment to education and occupation. It's just unbelievable in those communities, and that's a cultural thing among the communities that we have that are Asian. And as a result of that, they have the lowest crime rate and the lowest likelihood of being a victim of crime in our country. And so that's something to study. It's kind of part of the theory here. All right, awesome. Thank you. Great job. Go ahead and do the practice. That's four down. We got one more theory that we're going to look at to go.